and it's just like on his toe the whole time. It has no travel. So this one is probably a little bit polarizing. One of the top defensemen in the NHL is shooting a one-time clapper and it's only hitting the toe. There's really no blade travel on this at all.
When you're not going to be able to get your hands over the puck to really flex it, and so now you need to get to a position where it's going to be more of, it's your heel you're using to shoot it. It's a very strong bottom hand, I like to say, and you're just like popping it. It's just a hard, you can see how flat the puck is. This is a saucer pass.
Yeah.
So this is something he's going to do a lot, especially when you can see the puck is out in front of his body. He has a breakaway, so it's a really good shot to get it up quick.
Hey all, Mike here with NorCan Hockey. Today's video is the second interview with Brian Slugocki on modern shooting and scoring. Brian's a skills coach from Phoenix, Arizona. He works with the Tucson Roadrunners, Utah Hockey Club, and also individually with various NHL players throughout the season and through the summer, Austin Matthews being one of his clients. We stick to two very specific topics. Blade travel. How does the puck travel on the blade? Does it still travel heel to toe in any type of shots, or is that something that's antiquated? The second topic we get into is shooting pucks that are standing on edge or bouncers, and the ability to do that versus trying to let the puck settle all the time. So those two topics, we really try to stick to that. As always, like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. It would be greatly appreciated. Enjoy. We'll start with talking about that blade travel. So was there a video you think would be the best one to start with?
Yeah, so I'll share some goals that McKinnon has scored over the course of the last couple of years, and just to show that really good shooters are able to use all parts of their blade. There isn't a right or wrong. I think it's very situational. But again, if you want to be a good shooter, I think you got to be comfortable using a lot of those different parts of your blade.
Yep.
I cut these down, but this is going to be more of like your toe type of a release, where it kind of stays in that pocket. You have a little bit of a separation between when he releases the puck and that power generation. This is another example of it. Of a lot of it is like a shot in stride type of a pattern, but you can see is there's going to be a lot of, not a lot I should say, but there is that separation, but primarily he is using the toe to generate that kind of downward pressure that we talked about. But then now it's have that separation, you can create flex with the stick, and now so you're using more of your toe to shoot this puck. These next ones are going to be more, this is like my favorite shot, is like these heel shot, these pop shots. So these next two are good examples of it. There's a really good view of I think it's the next clip, of puck is out in front of your body when you're not going to be able to get your hands over the puck to really flex it, and so now you need to get to a position where it's going to be more of, it's your heel you're using to shoot it. It's a very strong bottom hand, I like to say, and you're just like popping it. It's just a hard, you can see how flat the puck is. This is a saucer pass.
Yeah.
And so this is something he's going to do a lot, especially when you can see the puck is out in front of his body. He has a breakaway, so it's a really good shot to get it up quick.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's one of my favorite shots.
Yeah, I like too that one, the bottom hand, like where his bottom hand ends up is almost palm up.
Yeah.
Eh?
Yep.
So it's like in tight, and it's a full saucer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is and it's very unexpected because you can do it almost inside of like your handle. So there's really no like setup. It's just two touch. It's a two touch shot, very quick, like very effective. A lot of guys use this sometimes like in a shootout as well.
Yeah.
The next one is down now. This is more of like the middle of his blade, and it's still on this breakaway. As you can see, this is going to be again. Now I think this is more of like a middle of his blade. The puck is not traveling a ton. I think it probably rolls to his toe there.
Yeah.
But in general, it's almost in between. It's in between the heel shot and more of a traditional like the toe shot, because it's maybe in line with his footwork. I know when he's releasing it here, he's it is slightly ahead, but this is more of like he's going across his body, and then more of your middle part of your blade. Yeah. So it's just the last image of it. So Yeah, so I just wanted to like I said with McKinnon, I'll show more later, is good shooters such as McKinnon, they can use any part of their blade depending on the situation. If it's out in front of you, I think that's going to be more of like your pop, your heel, because you can't get over it to get a lot of that
Yeah.
flex. But if you a pull shot is going to be more of like a toe type of release because it's maybe further behind your stance, etc.
Yeah, and mine, I guess the biggest thing for me with this whole kind of the narrative or trying to get information and resources out there is, I'm old, but it was all heel to toe. Like that was, you'd go to a hockey school and everybody taught heel to toe, heel to toe. And there's even, there's a couple people in the area here I know where like a player will come to me and say, yeah, we worked with so-and-so and, he's talking about heel to toe and I got to get more heel to toe on every shot. And I'm like, I don't know if that's the right direction for you where you're at with your power and in your development curve. So that's kind of my whole thing, is just to create some information that this is kind of the modern way of doing it. There's still a time and a place to use your entire blade, I believe, but we can't pretend that this isn't happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm going to share my screen we'll go through those examples I have. I put a couple of these up on Instagram and they got a ton of views. When I first put this, I put no more heel to toe travel, and
yeah, that stays on the toe pretty much the whole time.
The traditionalists didn't like that, and a lot of people are like, yeah, thank God somebody's talking about this. So, but yeah, it's just that pull in and then a readjustment of hands, and then it's just straightforward push, and there's maybe a little bit of travel, but it's basically that diving board theory where the puck is being pulled in and then there's a whip being created and then it's just slapping the puck or flinging it rather than having that travel. Mm-hmm. And then, I posted these two and they both got a lot of traction. There was lots of comments and lots of views on them. Back to Tolman. Look at all the time. One of the comments on this one was like, not a good shot. Look at it. It's not even spinning. Did he even score? Because I think that's the misconception, is like if the puck isn't traveling in a perfect disc spinning saucer, that it's not a good shot, that's not the truth anymore. We know that over 50% of goals come from the inner slot. So how hard do you actually need to shoot from the inner slot? It's like going hunting. Do you need a deer rifle for hunting geese or do you need a shotgun? Like there's different types of shots for different areas or different ranges.
Yeah.
So that one, it's not spinning perfectly flat, but it's still a rocket.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I say to guys is like you just in certain situations, especially off of like a push, like if you push it before, you just want to whack it. Like you're just trying to get it on the ice, and I use like whack, slap purposely so guys are comfortable with like it doesn't need to be a pretty release. Like you just got to get it on the net, and the surprise will work a lot.
And then this one's really interesting. This is the one we looked at before we hopped on here. So this one was the other night. It's a one-timer by Yossi. Puck goes over, one time, flank shot, and I've always argued that, the toe shot with no blade travel, we're talking about snapshots, but now I'm seeing it more in one-timers and slap shots. Braden Point, I got a video of him doing the same thing when he's bumper. He gets a puck kicked to him right in the slot, and he kind of like a half clapper, and it's just like on his toe the whole time. It has no travel. So this one is probably a little bit polarizing, but it's happening, and that's really all I'm trying to show is like, well, one of the top defensemen in the NHL is shooting a one-time clapper and it's only hitting the toe. There's really no blade travel on this at all. It's just toe and being flung. It's not even really.
See the defense pair side to side, and the Preds two quick ones. Preds will get the puck again.
And then in fast motion, it's not a weak shot. It's a rocket that beats the goalie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like it's flipping or fluttering or doesn't have enough power to score from 20 feet out, but it comes off the toe of the stick. It doesn't have that roll.
Kind of what you're saying with the OC, like you can see it, and I know some guys do this and I talk about with others, but it's very subtle, but you'll see he initiates his one-timer. It's the toe that I really feel like is actually initiating the movement. It's hard to see. But the toe is what first I think hits the ice, and then that like the rest of his blade will then come down. To really kind of like get. I think that's what we were talking about before of kind of like generating that torque.
Yeah.
Whereas some guys, they'll go like heel first, or they'll
Yeah.
like, and I think sometimes you might whiff it. So I do think that there is, and this isn't a big one timer by any means. And so I really like when you can do these sort of sweep one timers, especially if you're going to use it from like start with your toe, and you can see he's kind of having that like drawing it into his body motion.
Yeah.
Um, you're really using the technology of the stick to shoot the puck versus trying to like brute force
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Which is there's a lot of shooters try to just be stronger than like they just try to muscle it and they try to squeeze it, and I think they can whiff a lot of times because they're trying so hard to shoot it.
Yeah.
Like it should more or less shooting should be easy.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to do like a radar speed testing. I don't believe you're losing any sort of power or speed or total velocity by using just your toe or that type of release versus like a heel to toe. I shoot a lot and I can't say, generally my shots are all pretty equal. Some are probably quicker to get off, like the toe is going to be quicker.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any sort of drop in velocity. So like I would tell people if they're worried about switching or trying to have a different type of release that I might shoot it slower. I don't think you're going to shoot it any slow. Like once you get comfortable with shooting off different parts, you're not going to lose any real velocity, in my opinion, from shooting it like that versus like a more traditional or
Yeah.
heel to toe.
Yeah, and it goes back to like, are you shooting to score or are you shooting to deliver a puck for a rebound or a tip or whatever, right? Because even defensemen, like I've been doing lots of studies with where defensemen are scoring from, and like Colton Parayko for one, you think about him and his shot selection, and every kid I work with, I ask him, what kind of goals do you think Colton Parayko scores? Like, oh, one-timers, big slap shot, from the point, from up top. And then you pull up his shot map, and he's only got 3 goals from above the top of the circle out of 15 in this season. Everything else is diving down on the back door, finding rebounds, following up the rush, arriving at that net front area on time.
Yeah.
So you think about his shot, and everybody kind of pictures him as this player that's scoring with this big shot, but a lot of time he's not actually scoring with that shot. So that's where you get into like, okay, are we working on your shot to get you more goals, or are we working on your shot to get you more assists and deliveries and rebounds and points through, the next touch or getting the puck into the blue paint? So, but if you're really like what you're saying, if we're really talking about shooting to score, then I don't think the velocity is a huge thing, because not many defensemen outside of Makar is one of the only guys that scores from the top on the umbrella. But outside of there, I went through the top 10 NHL defensemen in scoring, and he's the only guy that's scoring goals from up above.
Yeah, and I would be curious that like, yes, he shoots it hard, but a lot of it is probably he's scoring because he's shooting while he's moving laterally, and a goalie can't quite pick up. Oh, I didn't even think, like, I've talked to goalies who are like, I didn't think that guy could even shoot the puck there. And so they weren't ready for a shot versus if it's hard, but it stayed on the same, like the D, it was a very traditional catch and shoot type of a play from like a D to D. Like those might be easier to see than versus somebody like Makar or like Hughes who are working across.
Yeah, and he's the first one that I seen that used that behind the heels or that rotational release that we looked at earlier. Like going across the blue line, most defensemen would go and surround it. Like Quinn Hughes does a good job of that because his skating is so good. Where like he'll start across the blue line from the left side, working to the right, and he'll sprint forwards and then do a full surround and then shoot it while skating backwards. Where Makar, he just, like, rather than fully surrounding it, he just puts the puck behind his heels and keeps skating the same direction. And it's a really difficult one to read.
I'll just show again just more examples of, I'll show these two, of good players using different types of releases. Like this is an in stride release, but you'll see this is I think the next angle is a really good angle. Do I have one more angle? Yeah. It is going to primarily stay on that toe, but again, you're creating that kind of separation from the puck. I just think if you compare this, especially with your skating, there's no way this is going to be a heel to toe type of release and still be deceptive. So again, just being comfortable shooting different types of releases. But then to contrast that with this goal of Draisaitl, So, and I think this also depends on the type of blade you
Yeah.
have and the curve. Like it's the same type of shot, but his blade is, he's got a max blade, whatever. This is going to be more, I think the next one, you can see is like, this is that kind of heel middle. It's still like a pop,
Yeah.
but it's even with him. Whereas like, okay, Kucherov shot this puck as a, a purely toe to maybe middle shot. And this is more of just like a
Yeah.
traditional maybe two-touch shot. It's going to give you more, you'll feel more comfortable in a game just whacking it sometimes, just shooting it and not always feeling like I have to get it into that
Yeah.
sweet spot.
Yeah. Yeah. There was I don't have the clip downloaded, but it was somebody with Montreal. It was this year. I don't know if it was overtime or power play, what it was. It was on a rush, and the puck came across 2-on-1 or whatever, and the guy is he's on his off wing, and he had to take a one-timer with it, and it was right in his skates. He just, like made the athletic adjustments and got the puck off, and it was almost like a flipper tumbler. It was a rainbow, and he ended up scoring with it just because he placed it in the right spot by adjusting his body to just get rid of it, rather than, like if he would have stopped it and then tried to reset it, the goalie would have been set. So he used that. I don't need to get a whole bunch of power on it. I just need to get it off my stick and on the net before the goalie gets there in the right spot, and it turned into a game-winning goal. Like, you're going to be getting pucks outside of your wheelhouse, in goofy areas behind your heels, in front of your body. So let's jump into some of these on edge and bouncers, and that's kind of that similar to what we just talked about with like just being able to shoot it no matter what.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I'm seeing a whole bunch of now, and you might have already noticed this, but I was skating with a player, like a junior NCAA level player, and having them work on deceptive passing, and they were attacking down this lane and faking a shot and then slipping it across to me for a shot on the other side. Mm-hmm. And I kept feeling the puck stand up on edge when I caught it on that play. And like, we were both skating in stride, like a 2-on-0 or a 2-on-1 situation. And I don't know if it's stick technology, but I'm seeing a ton of this where the puck is now hitting and it's standing up like that. I felt like every hard pass I received wanted to do that. It wanted to hit my blade and stand up. And then from there I was, okay, do I let this settle, or do I just sling it from standing up? Where this one, he actually lets it settle. So there's that moment right here where, if he was just quick with his hands, he could just sling that puck right now, like lacrosse style, throw it. But he lets it fall down, and now it's settled, and then he snaps it from settled. So I'm seeing a ton of this now is just, are you comfortable shooting with that puck on edge, or does it have to settle? This is a great angle of it. So puck comes across, backhand saucer, hits the blade, and you can see it's on his heel, standing up completely, and he just slings it. So doesn't let it settle at all. If he didn't shoot it from here and he let that puck settle, would the goalie have been over another little bit and been able to take that away? So it's just that speed of release versus, like, and I don't know, I think this is good, especially from in tight. I feel you can elevate better with a puck laying flat on your blade and just throwing it lacrosse style than you can trying to snap it from like when it's settled or when it's laying on it, laying regular. So
yeah, I even with that one, I don't like, there's no, the way his posture is and how low he already is, like I don't think there's any way, with how much speed he has, he could realistically like settle this before he shot it. One, he's like obviously way on his outside edge. That'd be extremely difficult to settle that before he shoots it. So that's a good clip of that, because that's a hard skill, because it's easy to sail pucks like that. That's why, again, I think the importance of like practicing, just give me bad passes, I'm just gonna try to get it off.
Yeah,
it's a good clip.
And then another one, kind of the same scenario, same situation, but off of a carry. I just stole this one from one of those Instagram posts, but again, it's like, is it always best to let it settle, or can you actually shoot from a puck on edge? And like a lot of the players I work with, I talk to them about it, and they're like, well, I don't know if I can hit the net. Like, I don't think I can have the accuracy, or I'm gonna hit the top of the glass or whatever. But if you actually work on it, and I've been messing around with it the last few years, like, people throw a lacrosse ball no problem with high accuracy. And I don't, I'm seeing enough of them now that I think you can be somewhat accurate, because like this one, it's flat, it's standing right up, and it's just a chuck or a sling. And I mean, he's a quarter inch from scoring a goal in a pretty big game with that shot.
Yeah. I feel like those type of pucks, like, yes, the release is different. You probably can't have as much like finishing upward motion, because it could, like, you could get too far under it.
Yeah.
But I'd be curious to see, like, I almost feel like that has to be almost like your hands are going to go more, because it's already on edge, it's going to naturally want to go up.
Yeah.
So I wonder if your hands have to be more forward
Top hand.
straight, as versus the kind of finishing upright.
Yeah.
I have to play around with that one.
Yeah. And then this one was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, these are the ones I was saying where you just gotta just whack it sometimes. Just get it like. Oof, that's hard. There's not many guys who can do that. That is quick.
So it's a little backhand pull. It's on edge, and then he gets it, and you can see right there. It's fully on edge. It's standing upright, and then like you can almost just see.
There's nothing there. That's wild. That's
right here. It's just like you can see that heel go up a little bit, and now the stick is flexing. It's blade flex and stick flex there, and then it's just a sling, like it's just a slingshot whip.
Yeah.
And you can see how accurate and how fast he actually shoots it out of a puck on edge. And I mean, like, I joke about it all the time. Is like, yeah, it's the Anaheim Mighty Ducks knuckle puck. Like, right? We all seen that, and they made a big joke out of it. But now you see it so much that it's, well, no, I think there's something to it. And I was talking to my goalie coach buddy, and he's like, yeah, the puck dips and dives, and it's hard to read. Like, it's a complete different read when it comes off the blade in a sling or a standing up than it does when it's settled. So yeah, I don't know. It's like I'm seeing a ton of it.
Ovechkin is good at shooting these type of pucks. Like, I can visualize him making a lot of these type of shots.
Yeah.
Takes that.
Last one I'll show of this, but again, just to make sure that it's not just a one-off, I've got years of videos collected on this one. But it's JT Miller, and it's just that theory of like catching a hard pass across, and with the stick technology, the way they react now, a lot of times it hits a stick in a soft catch situation, and it's up on edge. Like, that's just, it has too much velocity coming across to hit and lay flat. It hits, and the energy of it moves the puck up like that because the pass is so hard. And then from here, it's like, well, what do? Do you shoot it like this, or do you let it flop down?
So now I would be really interested. Like, this is where now I would go back and look at, like, a ton of his catches and see, is that a common occurrence for him? Because, now getting hypothetical, if you're catching every puck like that, yes, in the NHL they pass it very hard. Like, that's no question. But sometimes I don't know if guys are catching it, then their blade is too upright, and so like it's just immediately hitting a straight wall. So that does have that kind of bounce effect.
Yeah.
So sometimes I try to talk to guys of like, just for a little bit, over-exaggerate getting your top hand over it, so when it touches, it's really cupped, so that you can maybe get it off quicker. So that might be an experiment I need to run, is like, how much is this a technical, like, getting back to the original point, yes, you need to get comfortable at shooting all those pucks, but I'd wonder how many pucks is he shooting like this, versus a flat puck. Be an interesting study.
Yeah, and then watching it too, like that Bertuzzi clip, because the puck was a saucer and it had a wobble on it when it arrived, does that have something to do with it versus a puck that's arriving flat on the ice with a lot of spin on it. You know what I mean? Like if the puck has wobble and it hits, is it going to want to hit the blade and stand up?
Yeah.
Because it has wobble. So there's all kinds of variables in it. So yeah, I don't. It's just an observation that's happening, and they talked about it in one of the between intermissions. I think Kelly Rudy talked about it. He has a good clip of Morgan Riley shooting one, where he gets it at the blue line even, and the puck is up on edge like that, and he shoots it, and he shows how much it drops on the way to the net. So yeah, it's kind of. I feel bad sometimes about these topics because it was a joke with the knuckle puck for so many years, but like there's honestly something to it. It's like if you see it over and over again, and you think about learning how to fling it versus letting it settle and how many milliseconds it is for goalies to get set up, like is it something we should be talking about and practicing? And yeah, I'd say like next time you're on the ice with somebody, just go down the dots and do like that fake shot into a pass on a 2-on-1 drill and catch it off of that pass and see how many are actually standing. And when I was doing it, I was catching them and I was like, oh, I like when it stands up because I can hit the roof of the net from just outside the blue paint. Like it felt more comfortable for me. And then I started like trying to replicate it so the puck would stand on edge so I could just throw it into the top corner. You can straight elevate it. I seen somebody was interviewing Matthews. It was just recently. It was that Colby Armstrong thing.
Yeah, I thought that's what you were saying, yeah.
And they were working on their shot, and Armstrong was like, yeah, I like to pull it in and then have separation. And Matthews was like, oh, you have separation? Almost like he doesn't like separation or he doesn't use separation. Does he? So is that the theory? Is he feels that like if you separate too much, it slows you down?
I don't know. That video... I was thrown off a little bit, but then, like, you know, when you watch him do the replay of it, like, it does stay on his blade the whole time. I think there's some things with him as a shooter that, like, it's important to keep in mind. Like, he's 6'4", 230 pounds. Like, I think he's comfortable, like, really whipping the stick. Yeah. And so he doesn't feel like, I don't think he always needs to get that, like, extra flex. It's got to be a minuscule difference. Man, now you're gonna make me watch some videos of his to do some like how quickly he catches and shoots it. But like, I was surprised to hear that. But he's pretty. He is aware of his like. He's not one of those athletes who like, oh, I don't know what I do. I just like, do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we actually had an interesting discussion about. Because I don't know if we talked about this last time, but like. Pointing and having like your follow through, and I asked him, I was like, you know, what's your opinion on follow through? Like, do you care about it? And he's like, personally, no, I don't. Like, I already think and I agree that like the puck's off your stick. So like, there's just so many things like that where it's like, oh yeah, you're supposed to do this. Nobody actually does that, but that's what the teaching cue is, you know, or whatever. So that's why I think this is beneficial. There's no one way to shoot a puck. There's no one way.
But modern hockey and like these guys are talking about the separation, and I truly see it now with when you're teaching young players, they need to get separation and exaggerate the separation in order to figure that out.
Yeah. But
like you say, I think he's so strong and so advanced that he doesn't need that separation.
Yeah, I think it minimizes the better you get.
When I watched his shots after I heard him say that, the same mechanics and the same technique, but he just doesn't he doesn't have an over-exaggerated separation because he has so much power that it's like his transition from the pull-in to the push is so strong that he doesn't need to create that.
Yeah, I wonder because this was the other video, like stays right on like that. That's pretty close.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe right like here, but
a tiny bit, but like nowhere near what other people, like an amateur would do. Again, the conversation went quite a bit longer than this, but in light of time, to call this the end point of this one, thanks to Brian for agreeing to jump on the call again. Please leave a like, subscribe, share this with somebody that you have these conversations with. It would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.